And basically, we have been working on this idea for like 3 years, and our main goal has been to upskill engineers. And now we are trying to pair these engineers that we're upskilling with founders in the local Nigerian economy. What is my background? My background is I come from a background of education and also like fintech, and additionally some marketing and like restaurant tech, quote unquote. Right now, I currently CTO a fintech company based in Nigeria called PayHippo, and yeah, and that's mainly it. I was born in Owerri, and I moved to the States when I was much younger, and now I'm slowly but steadily coming back, like turning my full attention to Nigeria, trying to help build out both the tech economy and also the financial economy in any way that I can possibly do that. Yeah, that's it for me. Mike, do you want to hop on and do a little quick intro?
Sure. So for myself, I'm 28 years old. I was originally born in San Francisco. And for most of my life, I've just run my own like small businesses. So I've been self-employed. Currently, I CTO this charity. And then I also am getting a web agency off the ground. I have a small team of people. And it's been really interesting. It's been a journey. I really enjoy traveling as well, and kind of investing in finance and the creative passion that fuels small startups. Because as a small business owner, I know like these challenges that people have early on, and I feel like I can lend my experience to that in like a personal way. So that's more or less my background and what I do at the charity here. Maybe Manny can come up. There's a lot of people on here.
Manny, if you're there, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, you're muted, by the way, if you can hear us.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got kicked off my phone, so I had to switch to another device. All right. Hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Perfect. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming on. Name's Manny, other member of Enye. Let's see. Born in Lagos from Abia originally. Background, come from a research background, research analytics. Merged into tech a few years ago. Currently run enterprise product for analytics company. Deep hands in product and engineering overall.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Thanks for the intro, guys. So we have a variety of founders here from like different backgrounds, like different sectors. But the one common thing that you guys do have is that you guys have big ideas and you guys need those ideas to be built. And so what we do here and what we're really good at Enye is we are really good at vetting engineers, training engineers, and then putting them in the right places for them to grow. So a bit about our history. We started in like 2017 with 10 students, 10 college level students, and we wanted to teach them how to program. We were like, we got this. We can like upskill them easily. We can just teach them, give them all the skills. We gave them laptops, we gave them data, really trying to like give them all they needed to like have for them to get to that level, for them to be employable. We found out that we're not actually really good at teaching. Teaching is a very hard skill, and because of that, we failed our very first cohort. And from there on out, we pivoted and we moved towards how do we build, or how do we give these engineers that already have a couple years of experience the skill set they need to perform at a global level. And so we did that by putting them into groups where they built out ideas that they came up with, and that was our like second cohort. We saw a lot of strong success there, and we saw that once they were done with the program, they were extremely employable, and we were able to place 100% of the students that graduated our second cohort. And now with our third cohort that just wrapped up a couple months back, we ran an experiment where we grouped these engineers into teams of 3, and they all played their various roles. One was front end, full stack, back end. But however, with 2 of the groups, we had 5 groups altogether. With 2 of the groups, we ran an experiment where we paired them with a founder in Nigeria who needed their idea to be built. And what we found was that it was an even better success. The founder was able to get their idea built out, their MVP built out, and our engineers were able to upskill themselves. So with this 4th cohort that we are launching next month, every single one of our groups will, not groups, but teams, engineering teams will be paired with a founder. And in that 10-week process, the one deliverable is that you will have your MVP. But throughout the program, we will make sure that as things shift and bend, that we, the Enya team and the various other mentors and other affiliates that work with us, guide the product down a well-beaten path. So before I keep going on and talking, and I know there's loads of questions, but I'm going to stop right here. And please just raise your hand. There's a feature for you to just raise your hand, and then we'll just pick on you, and then we'll take it from there.
Don't ask at the same time.
Yeah, we have an Ola Lekin. I'm so sorry, Ola, if I did not pronounce your name correctly. Akinyele, go ahead.
Okay, so let me correct you there. My name is Olalekan Akinyele.
Olalekan, okay.
No, Olalekan. You are Nigerian. You have to
Hey,
Olalekan.
Olalekan Akinyele. Yes, Olalekan Akinyele. Yes, thank you. All right. Yeah, nice one. I think you guys are doing a very nice one, and I think this is a very good initiative, because I remember vividly that okay, let me introduce. So I run a startup called Color Teas. I was part of I'm part of the first cohort from Founder Institute, and I know well that having to develop our product was one of the greatest challenge that we had as founders. I mean, I have a design background, but I mean, the engineering part is something that I really don't have. So I mean, at some point I was basically just looking for templates that could at least help just prototype initially, even though now we've not really done anything significant in terms of building the product itself, because we had to take a step back after graduating from FI and to kind of just put things in place in terms of the business model, and just fix our operations and our back end well, so that from there we can then build a product. So the question for me is, and I like the fact that you want to also pair like a founder with like 3 engineers. I mean, there's the back end, like you said, the full stack, and the front end, and I think that is very cool. So the question I really want to ask is, so if we are paired with this particular team of engineers, and if we want to use them and let them be part of the team fully, is that really possible, or are they going to be working? So for example, this team, will they be also working with other founders, or are they going to be basically focused on one founder at a time? I really need to understand how that dynamics works. Are they going to be working with multiple founders? Are they going to be tailored to one particular founder and the product? And afterwards, once they build, what would be that relationship afterward? After all, I mean, those are things that are still not very clear. That I need it to be clarified. Thank you.
Fantastic question. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one. We can like round robin, guys. So yes and yes to both of your questions. So the end goal is for them to be part of your core engineering team. But no to the question that they will be working with other founders. They will only be working with you. Each team is assigned one founder, and at the end of the program, they are to build out the MVP for that one singular founder. And then and then at the end of the program, what we want, the ideal situation, is for the founder to pick the engineers that he wants to bring onto his core team.
Or she.
Oh,
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. And I guess that way, each founder would be able to find someone that could end up being, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, someone that could fit in the role of a CTO at some point, right?
So we are not necessarily trying to place CTOs, okay? However, because for you to be a co-founder, there's a whole lot to that. You have to have a very good relationship with that person. They need, like, you need to trust that they can run a team. You need to trust that they can, help you find all the missing pieces that you may or may not have. So what we are going to present you is people who are technically adept and who are socially and competent and they have the soft skills to communicate their thoughts. And then if you believe that one of them has the skills and fits into the mold of what you have envisioned for your CTO, then absolutely extend that offer to them. We are not opposed to that. We have definitely with our last cohort, we placed a couple of CTOs, many lead engineers, and the rest just software engineers. So that path would be like the ultimate path that we would want for each one of our engineers. So yes, please offer them CTO role if they feel in the mold.
So if I can add a bit more context to that, just for everyone. So where our main focus is in the first part of it is you have an idea, you're the entrepreneur, you're the founder, you have that vision. We give you the technical resources in terms of talents to execute in a given period of time, build out a version of your product that you want to see live. Throughout that, it's up to you as a founder, as the entrepreneur, as the owner of this product and this vision to monitor the qualities of the various engineers on your team. And at the end of that period, as Uche mentioned, you decide if you see something there and you want to continue that relationship with that person. We've had examples of engineers going from as an engineer to moving on to be working longer periods with that founder. Again, it's up to you, it's up to your choice, but the first part is what we cater to and what we bring down, which is you have a vision, you have an idea, you have a product in mind or a product already in the market or in the works, and we give you the other part of the resources, which is a handful of engineers to take you from step 1 to step 2.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. So please, I want to also explain that part. I mean, I saw your document and I wanted you to explain that part where, so I get building the MVP basically costs nothing. But the vision, when you want to build the version 1.0, for example, the negotiation we have to do, is it with the engine team or is it with the engineers themselves?
We will negotiate on the engineers' behalf. You know, you as a founder, you will become our partner, and so we are on your side. But additionally, we are also on the engineer side. So what we try to do is to make sure that everyone gets a fair compensation for the time and effort they're going to like be putting into this product. So that would be a negotiation that we will be making on behalf of the engineers.
Okay, please, can you elaborate more on that partnership with the founder that you meant in terms of?
So Richard, let me try one thing. But let's do this. Let's parking lot that particular question and come back to that. So then, because there's a few other people with questions, let's do a little round robin, and I'll make a note of yours, and we can come back to that. And if there's not enough time today, we'll make sure you and anyone else who needs more answers around that gets enough clarity. Is that all right?
No problem. Please go ahead.
And I promise you will have clarity around that, because that specific question is the question that everyone, I think, has.
Yep.
Yeah. We have Seth. Seth, go ahead and ask your question. Hello, Seth. Testing. Going once, twice. Okay, let's go to Kunle. Kunle David, go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Hello.
Okay, go ahead, Seth.
Okay, hi. So, okay, my name is Seth. Kadimi is my venture, and it's in the fintech space. So, Lekon has asked one of my questions, which was after version 1.1, 1.0, what happens next? Because there weren't too many details on your slide. But my question now goes to is this. So, a lot of founders have various degrees to what their MVPs will be. Some people might just need a basic website or something that has integrations for payments.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who have deep that need like things like machine learning, AI, and the rest, do your engineers have that capability? Because I'm in the fintech space, so I'm looking to be able to integrate some really deep tech, not just your facial, like your normal landing page and stuff like that. Are they able to give us that kind of capability where we have machine learning at the back end to be able to bring out the product?
All right. Yeah, very good question there. Does anyone want to take that before I go ahead?
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
That was Seth, right?
Yeah.
So Seth, a few things in that. One is the first thing is I'll say it this way, right? In your particular example, and probably similar for everyone, it's you have this large idea, but the concept there is, for us, we approach it in terms of we would work with you and challenge you as a founder to slim that idea, or slim the scope of your product, not to minimize it, but really to have something that's achievable that you can produce in about 2 to 3 months time, right? And then on the second side of that, it's as the further this moves on, then the more we understand the details of your product or your service and the requirements of that. And so what we do on our side is, as we go through our huge backlogs of engineers incoming and existing, then identify, okay, particularly for the incoming, then it's identify which ones do we think might be a strong fit for what their skills and talents would a match for your product and services. So in a sense, it's this matchmaking that needs to happen, which is the closer we know what you and every other founder's here products are over time, and the more details that you can provide and we can get a better understanding of what you're trying to accomplish, then we can do a better job at the matchmaking service of that. Because we're not going to promise you and say, yes, we have someone who's a machine learning expert. Machine learning is a wide cast. What kind of machine learning are you trying to do? Someone may be better in imagery, someone else might be better in satellite imagery. Those are two very different types of machine learning, right? So it's the most we need to get a better sense of what your product and services are, and then you as a founder need to be able to tailor that and say, what can I really achieve, or what do I have to achieve as a version 1 or as a version 1.1, assuming you already have a version 1 already out there. And we don't do the whole landing page. That's you can go to Wix or Squarespace and get that done in 10 minutes. We're trying to get you an actual working product that you are going to market, already have a market for, and push that forward. So does that help a little bit?
Yeah, sure, it does.
Yeah. So just to like just second that, yeah, we're not building websites here. We are building applications, native, web apps, um, whatever the founders customers needs in order for them to like interact with the product. So and just to add a bit more onto there, onto the like the specific like types of engineers. Okay, we like right now for the incoming engineers, we are kind of casting a very like wide net. Okay, and there is no guarantee, and I'm going to be very transparent. There's no guarantee that we're going to get an engineer with like 3 years of experience using like AWS's like a very specific little like service. Okay, but what we're going to guarantee you is that these guys have years of like work experience, and what we're doing is putting them in like the most ideal team to help further your product. And I'm going to end it there. If you don't have any further question, go ahead.
I would like to just explain what we generally cover in the software engineering program track. Normally, what we're doing is essentially full stack JavaScript and then different deployment solutions on the back end. So if they were to have, say, like Python experience or machine learning experience, that would be pre-existing from past work experience for those people. So that's kind of the kind of luck of the draw, so to speak, in the types of engineers that we get in. We basically put them through the course, and we feel very confident in their abilities in that regard. But of course, we try to match the engineering teams to the entrepreneurial like need very specifically. So yeah, we could do a one-on-one later on about maybe what you need exactly.
And we would get more insights into this after you're vetted into our like program. But more on that. But let's answer more questions. We have Emmanuel Akbala.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's been great enjoying the chat across board. But I'm a little bit interested in one side. The three co-founders seem to be either a CTO or a founder or something, other activities aside from NEA. So I'm looking at what if, for example, Uche is working in a competitive space with my idea and is a CTO for a competitor, so to say. So that area of conflict of interest, IP protection and stuff. What arrangement is there to make sure that there's no, how will I put it? There's no conflict of interest really in the program.
Fantastic. Yeah. So we have already engaged like a lawyer on this exact topic right there. We'll sign any sorts of NDAs or legal documentations that you need to like feel comfortable with working with us. We are not trying to we are trying to help you and additionally help ourselves in this whole arrangement. We want to like set up a win-win situation. So yeah, whatever the founder you needs to feel comfortable about the situation, we are very accommodating to that.
Great, got that clearly. Thank you.
All right, Kunle, I think you wanted you were second before I switched to Emmanuel. Hello, Kunle. You are unmuted. Go ahead. Okay, we'll get back to you, Kunle. Ayo, go ahead. Ayo Dawadu. I'm sorry. Sorry if I murdered that name. Ayo, going once, going twice.
Hi, how Daudu? How's
Okay,
it going?
doing well,
Yeah,
doing well.
great one you guys are doing. I wanted to find out. So for the engineers, do they, I know this has been talked about a bit, but is it possible or how is it going to work out? Could we request like an engineer skilled in a particular stack, or is it going to be just like, okay, anyone who's on JS, then how do you do the matching?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Michael said, all of our engineers have various backgrounds. They come from all variety of spaces, and we capture all that data as we are onboarding them. But
Okay.
But during our program, we have to use a unified way to impart knowledge onto them. So we use the JS stack just because it's very straightforward.
Okay.
Everyone's like, even if they are coming from C++ or like PHP, whatever, they still have some experience with JS, and it's a very easy language to help mold all the techniques that we need to teach them. So you as a founder, we will send you all of the appropriate student profiles, and you can pick and choose which ones you want. But at the very end, we will pair you based off of what you have told us about your product and the vision and roadmap for it, and also obviously the technical needs. We want there to be an actual fit. So yeah.
Okay, just a quick
I would say
follow-up,
that
a bit more about the background. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just say really quick, in the onboarding for founders, when we have you guys go through the application process, there'll be some sort of form field where you can put in what skills you're looking for, and then we'll be able to better help you and say if it's a good fit or not.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Austin.
So go on,
yeah. All right. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, a bit more about the backgrounds of the students. So they go through a training at NEA. Do they get to work? Do they have work experience? How many years? And yeah, are they currently engaged, or they're just waiting to be placed now?
Yeah, so fantastic question, and I'm positive loads of people had this as well. So for this cohort, we are going for, they have to have 1 to 3 years of work experience, and that's just very key because there's just things that you learn while working that there's no replacement for it. What our program does is kind of find these rough gems. In Nigeria, there's a ton of engineers that are good and they're already working, but they still don't have all the practices, conventions and concepts that they need to really be top. And so we get the rough gems and we polish them and make them shine. So and yeah, some of them are working, but the aim is for, if you choose them, and the engineers will be privy to this, if they're chosen and they agree to it, that they shift all of their 100% of their time and effort to your product after, and this is the negotiation period after the MVP has been delivered. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Uche. Thanks.
No problem. We have Steve. Actually, wait. Before Steve, actually, go ahead, Steve, and then we'll go to whoever's next.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, guys. I mean, this sounds really amazing. So some of the questions I had were already answered. Before that, I will just quickly introduce myself. So my company, Beta Store. So it's a B2B e-commerce platform for a small retailer to better source goods, FMCG products, right? So my first question was on the profile of your cohort. So if I understand correctly, they may be currently, employed. So that's where their work experience is coming from.
Mhm.
So your program, going through the program is on their outside of their working hours, right?
Mhm.
And then after the MVP, there's a negotiation to decide if they, want to move full time um, to the founders team, right?
Exactly.
Or maybe because you also mentioned that there's a negotiation for the version 1, right? And in that case, it's not a recruitment or or agreement directly with the engineer, but there will be staff from Enye and working on a project. Am I correct? Or
Can you just rephrase that last question so that
so
it's just very
so the
clear?
so the first part, if I understood correctly, the first phase is MVP.
Yes.
They are going through the program. They may be still full time already with the job, right? And this is a training program, right? But they deliver this MVP. Post the MVP, we can, if there's a fit on both sides, right, decide to continue working together. And then in that case, the relation, is it like we can recruit them in as our core tech team, or is it uh, um, relation with the Enye as a provider, service provider for tech development?
Okay. So what we want to ideally do, okay, what we want as part of our like program is after the MVP, there is 4 months for that for us to get you to version 1. Like during that moment, yes, we would negotiate for the engineers compensation for that version 1. Okay.
Okay.
But basically, if you have picked them, they're basically part of your core engineering team. After version 1 has been provided, has been done, finished, stamped and sealed, everyone is glad and happy with how we have moved forward. Then you can absolutely bring them on full time. They're already full time, but bring them on as your core member, and we do not have to be any sort of like provider for you. They will just be on your team.
Okay.
And you, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then a second question was just to understand what kind of support. They have a program, right, with Enye, and there will be 50% learning, 50% on the MVP, or is there a split, or is more like
So 100% on the MVP.
100%, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so in terms of support that they get in terms of upskilling themselves, is it basically they have, so they will have to go and look for the resources, like self-service,
No.
to be able to deliver what they have to deliver on the MVP, or how does it?
That's a good one, Steve. So it's so again, 100% their time is focused on the MVP. From the engineers, they would have a host of support, including support from the founding members, from ourselves directly, and as well as a ton of other engineers, advanced engineers in our network, including those from the previous cohorts, and as well from our own personal network. So it's, if it gets to something where across the direct channels of support that we provide, there's still a need for additional support. And of course, there's going to be a necessity or requirement from the engineer to be able to to troubleshoot things on their own. But they're not walking through that by themselves. They have Uche, myself, Michael, and they have another, 50 or so engineers from the past cohort, and as well from our own personal networks to pull into that as well.
Okay. Okay.
Wait,
Great.
wait. Before you like go on, each team is assigned two mentors, two dedicated mentors, and
okay.
these are students from our past cohort and who are currently engineers right now. They're currently working with.
They're getting paid for their services.
Exactly, with either with partners that we place or with like any other company that they found on their own. But each team will have two dedicated mentors that guides the engineers through the process, through the whole process. Whereas the founder, you will have more direct access to the Enya team and our team of consultants.
Okay.
So in a way, you almost get 5 engineers, but really 3. But 5. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, it just sounds too good to be true, no?
It's not.
It's not too good to be true. It's just true.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Okay. Okay. That's all for me. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks, Steve.
Fantastic. Yo, Manny, do you want to call the list?
Yeah, I don't know what the if it just drops down to the next, but let's go with Nneka. Nneka, you there? Can we you have any questions?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody. I have 2 questions. One, when the solution is built, who owns the code? And 2, for subsequent releases and edits and changes, can we get an indicative range of what it would cost? Thank you.
That's
Fantastic.
a good one.
Let me wait, Manny. Let me take this one. This one is spicy. This is a very good question. And this is in all fairness to everyone involved. Okay, and this is the situation that we are trying to avoid. We take all this time and resources dedicated to building out a founders program and a founders product, and then at the end of the MVP, a founder just says, I'm not going to take any of these engineers, and like this MVP that I'm happy with, I'm just going to go and hire a bunch of other people to go and continue building it. We want to protect our engineers, because our main goal is getting our engineers jobs and placement. Okay, we want to protect them. We want to protect our interests, and we want to protect the founder's interests. So here's what is going to happen. Okay, during the program, during the MVP build time, the code that is going to be written is going to be held under the Enya organization. Okay, if you agree, if you love the MVP and you want to move forward with one of our engineers, we will transfer all of that over to your own private repo. And the reason being, for these exact, we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our own interests as well, and we need to make sure that there's a fair exchange. The code will live under our organization, and will be transferred over if you agree to move forward with one of our engineers. 1, minimum of 1, ideally 3.
And then there's a second question for maintenance of the product. So that's also, fall back on to the last part of what we just said, which is, if you, and so far it's been the case that every, founder that has come on, they've continued their product. So in that case, or they've continued development of their product or service. So in that case, then you, depending on what your decision at the end of that, of your former relationship with Enya is, within that 2 to 3 months, once that's over, then you get to work with the engineers, whichever one that you selected, and they will continue that maintenance. You can onboard other folks if you want to, but the maintenance part of that sort of goes on to you and your direct relationship with the engineers if you choose to move forward with them, right? But as far as that 3 months time, the idea is to, we have it tailored down to the T, and so that by the time that 3 months is up, you have a strong working version 1. If you've done your job wonderfully as a founder and you've tailored down those product specs, and we've done our job as Enya to guide you and make sure that there is, everyone's commitment is meeting their standards, then you come out with a version 1 of your product, or I wouldn't say a version 1, you come out with a version of your product that is ideally bug-free and in strong working condition. And anything, whatever you decide to do after that, that can take different routes. But we don't, to the other question of what's the cost for maintenance, there isn't some sort of service fee that we don't maintain your code base for you. We don't do any of that, but rather it depends on your relationship at the end of the formal 3 months program with the engineers. If you choose to move forward with them, again, we haven't seen any reasons for founders choosing not to. It's often been a strong working relationship that has been a strong partnership between the founder and the engineers as well. Does that answer your question, Nega?
Yes, to a large extent, but the last bit that you said, it helps to give an indication. If, for instance, you're buying a car and they say no payment for the first 6 months, and then subsequently the payments are 3 times more than what you would have paid if you were paying from the beginning, it puts it in context for us to be able to know, okay, in the long run, is this a good deal financially or not? And I don't want to put you on a spot, so that's why I'm asking for a range, just so we can have something that's indicative and we can know, is this something I can afford? Is this something I can build into the cost of my business, etc.? Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. Mike,
yep.
I know that you definitely want to touch upon that, but let me just paint the big picture, and then you guys can go more specific. Okay. So basically what you're asking is what is the pricing model? Okay, and we want to keep it as simple as possible. So just follow me here. It might seem a little bit more convoluted, but I believe it's pretty simple. There's a sliding scale for the cash compensation or the salary compensation for the engineer, and then for the equity compensation. And the reason that we are doing both is because we want to bring down the task requirements for an engineer of their level. So these are going to be anywhere from mid intermediate to high intermediate engineers, and the average range is anywhere between 250 to 300K for an engineer of that caliber. We're trying to come up with a model that brings that down, and the only thing that makes sense is the equity portion of it. So here is the sliding scale for the cash compensation is going to be from sorry, why am I saying N? 80,000 naira to 160,000 naira. That is the sliding scale that you get to choose for that. And then for the equity, it's anywhere between 5 to 10%. And they are inversely related. So if you're choosing to pay for the service with equity of 10%, the compensation for that engineer, and this is per month, guys, is 80,000 naira per month. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and it's also inversely related in a sense, if you choose less equity, you would then have to compensate them with more cash. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Again, this is based on, do I love this product? Okay. Which of these engineers did I bond with well? Do I want to move forward with? And I pay them a fair price, a fair wage, so that they can live as engineers and build out your dreams. You want someone to like work their ass off, sweat, like constantly think about your product, work on it full time. And full time is not 40 hours. There, you have people work like thinking. You want people to be thinking about this as soon as they wake up. Pay them a livable wage, you know, but additionally give them ownership, partial ownership in the idea as well. Mike, any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, you hit it very well with the like the Naira exact point on that. I would say from a more higher, like from a higher level picture, I think the program offers a lot of value in accelerating the growth of your business, because it comes down to how fast do you really want to grow versus like doing all these things on your own. Like for me, in my software business, I can go create my own software, but I don't want to because I don't have time for that, right? So like I go choose a pre-built solution. This is as like an incubator accelerator. I think it offers a lot of value for, number one, ensuring that you have a great UX and development of your application. You get great business consulting insights. We have connections with venture capital. We can get you set up to do the right steps along the way. If you have a very viable business model and there's a very specific need in the market, if you're a good market fit, then I think that our NEA's Founders Program like really offers a lot of value to kind of ramp that up very quickly. You don't have to source your engineers. We vet these people for you. We vet a large talent pool. Okay, I mean, can you go through and vet like 800 people? I don't know. How much time do you have? We have it all set up. So I think it's, if I was a Nigerian entrepreneur, I would do this program, is all I'm saying. But of course, your case depends on like how much money you have, how much equity you're willing to give up in exchange for the value that's offered. So it really depends on the person. But I think it's like a solid program. That's why I'm in it, right? That's why I co-founded this, right? So hopefully that's helpful.
Yo, a great question was asked in the chat. Are you guys going to help with mockups and wireframes? And here it is. So we are not dealing with just mere software engineers. Our program is, and where the value add is that we're trying to like elevate them, upskill them from software engineers into product engineers. And a product engineer can do all the things that a software engineer can do all the things that a QA engineer can do, but additionally, they can communicate with product. You are product. You are the product people. And so for them to be able to do that, they have to be able to, yes, do wireframes, be able to do user surveys. They have to understand design thinking. And that's a huge part of, that is the first thing that they do in our program. We have a whole week set aside to just design thinking, and in how we are envisioning it for this cohort is that they're going to be using these principles for your idea. So you will already know how the engineers think about your, like what their thoughts and opinions are about your idea already before they start even working on it. But before that, hopefully that answers your question. And let's go to Joshua. Joshua, are you there?
Hi guys, good evening.
Hello, evening.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. Like it makes a lot of sense for me, practically because in my last startup school with YC, I was open to like bring an engineer into the team. So straight to the point. One of the points that Neka raised, which I think I was sort of like answered one way or the other. So let me use a scenario whereby, so my concern is privacy, and that's why I want to use that scenario. So we have a case where you hire an engineer to do this, you get an engineer from NE to do the work, right? And at the end of the day, you realize that this guy is not compatible with the team in terms of like being a team member. and you just feel like you want this to like end after the program. So from what Uche answered, Uche said that would mean Enyi owns the code and everything as regards the product. So what then would the company have to do in terms of continuation and in terms of privacy with what has already been gotten from Enyi, right? In terms of the partnership with Enyi, right?
Very, very good question. Love it. Anyone? Manny, Michael,
So,
all you.
so we, first and foremost, you know, everything we do is above the board. It's clear and simple. With both Nigerian legal laws and US legal laws, because we operate on both sides. So let's just get that off the bat. So contracts are signed, everyone's protected, right? Your idea, your IP, that is your idea and your IP as a founder. So there's not going to be an issue of you come up with an idea and then we, as Enyi or an engineer, takes your stuff and goes and does something else with it. That's never happened, and we don't foresee that happening. And if it does come to it for some odd, unfortunate reason, again, there is a protection there first and foremost to make sure you are guaranteed that's ownership to your IP, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Go on.
Hello, good
Yeah, I get that, but my concern is like the code itself. If you would own the code, what happens to the company itself? Like if you would own the code, because we're saying this guy's not compatible with us, you can't bring him to the team, and we need to like get someone that's entirely else.
Hello, Joshua. Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Yeah, I'm Ayo, and I lead like Nigerian operations for Enyi, and I've been listening in all through. Quality question.
Cool.
So Joshua, to your question,
Yeah.
we are placing you with 3 engineers. I actually am a human resource professional, and then I also like know the Nigerian labor laws, which are some of the things that actually guide our operations in Nigeria. But what I know, coming from a team bond perspective, you can't say 3 engineers are not compatible with your team. Yeah, the opportunity we are giving you is that out of 3 across board, you'd actually have the alternative or the option to pick one that you think is most productive and is also most integral to what they've built down. So, and then if it ever comes that maybe for other structural reasons, you as a company choose not to go with the 3, I don't think that the engineers who are in the bad or Enyi is actually going to be actually a bad partner by saying we hold the codes written, and then why you obviously keep ownership of the idea and also can build with your external team on a new framework. So that's what I don't know if you have like questions, because I've actually been able to also work across some boards, and I see like where engineers write codes, they are either paid for it, and they're not paid for it, they actually also maintain those codes to themselves. That's it.
I understand. Actually,
Joshua, just to also add to this, because I've been like wanted to like this is a great question, but I want to like break this mold. If you think that your product, that your business is the actual code, if your business is not like building a platform and like an API layer for like banks like Okra, or if it's not actually the code itself, there is no way for someone to like take out the code and your business to crumble. And let me say this in a different way. Okay, the code is there to make your business better. You should already have the business and the idea, and then we'll come in and say, okay, look, now you have the business logic. Let's now automate this business logic. Let's now put it into
let's make it tech enabled.
Yes, let's now make it tech enabled. Let's now use technology to actually make the business accelerate. And so if you take out the technology, you should still have the business. And if it's not the case, that is going to be problematic. It's one of the things that we're vetting for. we are vetting for founders that have like a sound business sense and that actually have the business together. All we have to do is just come in and just build the platform that accelerates the business. And I'm speaking very firmly here just so I can communicate as clearly as possible.
Yeah, so for me, right, I'm definitely going to pick one or two guys from the team to join us because I know I need that, right? But I'm painting a worst case scenario here, right? Because I'm sure there are people who have the same concern and are probably not thinking in that line. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm concerned about the privacy on its own and how this is going to like work out for both parties.
That's a valid concern, but again, the key thing there is which is why we from our approach of things, and you know, most general approach of it is, as you, the visionary of this, you know, shifting solution that you have in your head, you should have already mapped out the full solution in your head, that if you snapped your finger with no limitations, then you have that physical, tangible code and technology to solve that problem. So with that in your mind, then it's, you know, having one engineer write one part of the code base and another engineer write another part of that should be abstracted from the overall logic of what your solution is, what your vision is. But you're right, it is a valid concern. And that's one that we do address, and we do make sure that it's properly addressed for any founder that's selected. And as you make it in, then that, you know, you get a better feel of the various checks and balances along the way. But we should hop onto the next person. I think we're slightly running short on time.
Thank you so much.
We can extend a little bit if anyone is able to stay on for a little bit longer. Kunle, can you actually, before that, any last words on that last question?
Yeah, I just want to say really quick that think of it more like we're storing the code. You know, this isn't necessarily like our IP, but the whole point of it is that we're entering into a partnership with you guys, and so we need to place these engineers. Okay, so we have this business model that requires us to place them. So if you come on and say, hey, we want all this value from you, but then we don't want to take your engineers, well, that's a bit of a problem, right? That's more like a problem with what you have going on in your team, because you have to manage these people as well, right? You're gonna end up working with them. And if you don't want any of them in the team that you have, then maybe we have some other engineers from Enye that we can place. But ultimately, you need to walk away with one engineer. And I don't think that's unreasonable, okay? I think it's pretty fair. We have a large pool of people. So I don't think it's really a problem. If you have a consistent problem with working with engineers, you may want to, like, I don't know, go deeper into management. I don't think it would actually be a problem with, like, if you have like 4 engineers, 5 engineers, 6 engineers, and you can't work with any of them, that is indicative of a problem like on your side, okay? So we could work with you on, like, you know, management of engineering teams and give you some pointers on that. But it looks like we still have some questions, so maybe we can.
Kunle, let's hop to Kunle real quick and then wrap it up with Emmanuel. Go ahead, Kunle.
Wait, before that, yes, we can, if you need us to delete the code, that is like, that takes 5 seconds. But the thing that will not happen if you do not move forward with one of our engineers is that we will not transfer the right, like the whole entire repo to you. Okay, we can delete it. We can, but the transfer will only happen on if and only if you move forward with our engineer. Go ahead, Kunle. I'm sorry.
Kunle, you there?
Yeah, speaking, but I can't hear
you. Let's pause on that and switch to Emmanuel. Kunle, we're going to come back to you in a second. Emmanuel Okpala, go for it.
Yeah, okay. It's quite amazing that 2 Igbo guys like you cannot speak like us. So maybe we'll find a way to balance it up somehow. But it's been a very interesting conversation. I think, first of all, I would like to add that for Joshua's statement, I really don't see any problem with that. If you can't pick, then leave the code, but the code just have to be in a secure location and not in use. But now we've been looking at the founder side, not being able to pick someone. But what if the 3 team or the 3 members of my dev team couldn't deliver within the track time? What happens at that point? What if my MVP is not available at the end of 2 months or the duration that has been agreed? So how do we balance such a situation for the founder?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let me just add like a little bit here. As a CTO, one of the biggest things that I struggle with, and that everyone struggles with, is how do you deliver in a given time frame. And so it's all about product management. If the delivery is not happening, it's because the tasks, the sprints were not managed properly. And so I'm going to own up to this, because you have to set up, as the product owner, you need to set up your engineers for success. And it takes you knowing like the right product management skills to actually do that. You need to be able to break down the tasks to their smallest, possible unit. And additionally, you need to be able to like understand your engineer's velocity, and that is over time. There's no way for you to know immediately. But the main thing that will help the deliverable happen is by understanding what an MVP looks like. The thing that we see, I can tell you that I've been guilty of this, is scope creep, which means like after you have planned out your sprint for that week, the product manager wants to keep adding new features into that planning, and that is neither agile nor productive to actually getting things like delivered. If things are not being delivered and engineers are putting in 40 hours, putting in their allotted or expected amount of time, and it's because the tasks are not being broken down like enough. However, if there is a situation where everything went perfectly, the product management was handled appropriately, then we will work with you to make sure that we deliver your MVP. If it's on our side, if it's on our fault that your MVP is not there, we will remedy that however we can. Especially if the founder is like, okay, look, I still want to keep going. We will find a way to make sure that MVP is delivered, and then at that point we negotiate how you want to move forward with the engineers.
Yeah.
So
also, just really quick on that, we have statistics for the amount of code and like the deliverables on the engineering side. We actually have like software that does stats and analytics for that, so we have a pretty good insight of like what would be an issue. And then also part of this program is that we offer guidance for what an MVP would look like. So if you come in and you say, oh, I want everything and the kitchen sink type of colloquialism, if you want a lot of things and it's beyond a typical MVP scope, we're going to say that's unreasonable. So we're going to help ensure that your project is reasonable, successful, trackable, and then if there's any issues, we can kind of mediate that. You get these team of 3 engineers, and then you also get 2 more senior mentors that do like code reviews and ensure things are on track. So yeah, just for a follow-up there.
That was a good one, and this also feeds into one of the reasons why we require the code base stored under Enya's account is for that, because we have various tools at our disposal that we use to manage and track. As much as everything else is happening, we also try to follow the data and use that to guide where we provide additional resources to founders and the founding team or the dev team, which is, we as various engineers are pushing code, we can track we can quantify their contribution and then provide intervention if necessary. So that was a good question, and let's end on that. The last one, Kunle is having audio problems, but he sent me his question. I'm gonna read it out loud, and then jump into that, and then we can.
Before that, here's the other thing, Emmanuel. So you will know immediately if things are not on track, if things are not being delivered. So our whole process is weekly sprints, so 1 week sprints. So at the end of the week, you will know, hey, was this delivered or not? Next week, you will know, was this delivered or not? And if things are not consistently being delivered, you have us, the Enya members, who can come in and figure out exactly what needs to be shifted in order to remedy that. That is why we are here. So there is at the end of each week, every engineer demos the work that they have done to the product manager, and this is key for keeping people accountable and keeping things on schedule. And if things are consistently not being delivered, that engineer has 2 strikes before they're removed from the program. So to like keep you, like, we're also on your side here. We want things to move along in an amicable fashion, but we also don't want to add too much like complication to this whole process. We want it to be as streamlined as possible. So we will act if engineers are not like delivering, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there is an expectation from the founders themselves. So let's make sure that is known. It's a 2-sided expectation from both the engineers and as well the founders. So the better you as the product manager or the founder or the entrepreneur could distill your idea, break that down into weekly digestible sprints for the engineers to work on. Everyone is equally accountable and knows that, okay, week 1 we're working on feature X, week 1 we're going to do this, and week 2 we're going to do that and that and that. So there's a full transparency of, there's a weekly check-in and various other checkpoints and things to gauge for progress and challenges and where we need different resources or new resources. Awesome. Kunle's question is, I'm going to read it out. See, my question is that, do you assist with product development or do you attach engineers to us? For example, just finished my idea validation, market survey exercise, and need help with the data analysis and other to understand the actual customer pain points. Second question is that, do you guys offer CTO as a service offering as opposed to working with engineers? Great. I'll open this one off and then kick it off to Mike and Uche to feedback into that. The first part of that, is this a product development? Yes. So again, Uche touched on this earlier. It's, the whole concept, it's not just giving your engineers to go sit in the closet or some room somewhere and code out some stuff. Sure, that's good. But as a founder, we are going to, as part of the requirements of before even entering into the program, we're going to require a lot of information from you, such as you understanding the problem you're trying to solve. If you don't understand the problem, you can articulate it. It's unlikely that you're going to distill that to the engineer for them to do what you need them to do, or see that vision and rally behind your problem. So yes, we will work and provide resources with you across our own personal networks of consultants to challenge you on your solution, on your market, and help you think about certain things that you might have missed, or just to think about things differently. On the data analysis, we wouldn't do that data analysis for you. That is your job as a founder, to know your market, to know your for you to know your market, to know your audience, know your solution. But what we do and where we come in and where we provide that service is crystallize your idea and make sure that we've done our part to guide you as best as we can along the road that you should be walking on. The last part of CTO as a service offering, not formally, no, but again, we touched on this earlier, which is at the end of the 10 weeks, or 2 to 3 months engagement, you can choose to move forward with a number of engineers, at which point it's your discretion to, if you see an engineer that if there's an engineer that you've worked with that resonates with you very personally, and you see that skill there and you want to, make them the leading tech person in your team and drive your solution forward, that is up to you. We can guide you, we can work with you, we could give additional resources if we, as best as we can. But we don't have a CTO as a service offering yet.
This is on
so
yet.
that's that. And I will dump that back to Uche and Mike to have an inputs, and then we should wrap up from there. If there's any other questions, and we can always, find a way to get back some of the responses out to you guys, or set another session to dive into some of this. But Uche, Mike, go for it.
Well, yeah, so as far as placing CTO specifically, it really comes down to your discretion on how you feel in your confidence level about the team itself. What we're really offering is a team of engineers to build an MVP to get you going. So you don't have to source all these people yourself. You don't have to vet them yourself. We ensure like the deliveries are timely, that it's up to a certain quality. And then we kind of do a little bit of kind of business consulting and then potential introductions. If you're looking to kind of like outsource CTO, it almost sounds like there's platforms to do that online. But this is more building a business, like actually you get a whole team and then it's kind of like off to the races type of thing. I'm just wondering, is there any other questions before we wrap up?
Yeah. Tolu has a question. Go ahead, Tolu.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for this session. I really enjoy it. I have some questions that are peculiar to my kind of startup. I have a CTO as a co-founder. He's an Andela guy and is very good. And is a co-founder, an engineer from here. What position do you think the person may hold when a co-founder is already a CTO? Does it make sense to have two CTOs, or you just kind of do COO, CTO thing? That's one. Two, I want to know if your organization has an experience in embedded system or working with hardware, because my kind of startup has an hardware that we control with the software, which is basically electric bicycle sharing. And, we control everything about the operation of the bicycle with our software and with the use of protocols, API, and all of that. So that is another question. That's two already. The third one would be that, okay, is there any plan for relocation or remote working? I don't get it. My own startup is not in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm in Ibadan. I could move my business to Lagos, but that is when an investor demands it. You understand? And it depends on where I have where the investor is coming from as well. So I want to know if your engineer will be working remotely or will be, will kind of relocate. Is there a plan for relocation and all of that? Because it's a startup, it's required that we have this this kind of situation where we can see every day and do things, not only virtually. And the last one that would look like the first one.
Wait. There's too many questions. I can't keep track of all of them. So right now you've asked two questions. The last one was about remote work. By default, what makes our program successful? I'm gonna be very transparent. I'm not even gonna lie. It's because it's distributed and remote. All right. However, there that would be a sort of thing that you would have to discuss with the engineer. If the engineer is willing to relocate to Ibadan to work on your platform, then yes. But if he or she isn't, we do not force that. We are actually trying to encourage people to be more distributed, because they do not need to be in person for them to build your product. You can still get the same level of quality in code and deliverables without ever meeting them in person, as long as you can you have the channels of communication. Exactly. You're using Zoom, you're using Slack, you're emailing, you're reading their pull requests, whatever. And then there was the other thing about you have a CTO. Yeah, it's great that you have a CTO. These engineers will come in as software engineers, lead engineers. Again, we do not do CTO as a service, but if you do find someone who you want to promote to a CTO, then definitely. So there wouldn't be a conflict of like there if you already have a CTO. That's great. That would actually help help contextualize the product for the engineer a lot better. And then the second question you asked, I have forgotten because there were just a lot of questions.
I think it was a question about how does he determine a CTO? What sort of titles or skills that they need to have. That's for me. That's a little bit more subjective, and I would put that back on what your needs are. And I can't, it's saying that someone with a title of a lead engineer with someone who's a title of a software engineer, both those two different talents cannot be a CTO. That's pointless and not correct. And so that's a bit subjective in my opinion. And I would say that you should, based on what you're looking for, the sort of skills you're looking for, you should vet around that. And if you know exactly what that type of person looks like to you with the skill set, then focus on that as opposed to what title they have.
What was the fourth question?
Or the fifth one? There was a lot.
It was just one after the other.
Yeah.
Tolu. Okay, I think. All right.
It's probably a good wrap.
Yeah, good wrap. All right, guys. I think if you guys have to go, definitely go. I will stay behind. Manny, you guys can drop. Mike, you can drop as well. I will stay behind.
I'll hop on for another 8 minutes, and then I'm going to drop.
Okay.
So if there's if anything else needs to happen, questions.
Sorry,
hello.
I was asking about your experience with AdWords and all of that.
Oh, right, embedded systems. That's a tough one because it's. Hello?
I'm with you. I mean,
Oh,
I think I
thought I was. I'm gonna mute you for a second. Your audio is fuzzy. Okay. Let's see. Uche. Oh, I don't think I could do that. Let's try this. Okay. So back to the question of embedded systems. That's a challenging one. It's gonna have to be. It's not something that we see across every day for embedded systems because that's usually C++ sort of languages. It's not something we also focus on, but we also have some engineers we've had engineers in the past that for whatever reasons, they have exposure or experience in that. So that's to say that we don't focus on embedded systems, but we can keep an eye out. If that's your product and that's your service and you make it in, we will certainly keep an eye out for that requirement.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. If there is any other question, I will get in touch, definitely.
Yeah, please. Yeah. I'm just gonna put right here a general chat, the email that you guys can just admin@enya.tech. If you guys have any additional questions, just send it there. So again, guys, this has been wonderful. Thank you for all the questions. There were some hard questions, some fairly straightforward questions. So what are the next steps? So tomorrow, you will all be emailed like an Airtable form. And if you're interested, if you think that there's a good fit here, again, this program is not a fit for everyone. It's for a certain type of founder, and one who has product sense, one who has business sense, one who has already codified all the business logic, and just needs a team to just build out this vision that they've already put into onto paper. But yeah, if you're interested in our program and in working with us and in seeing how we operate, I truly want to say you have to be a part of the program to actually see what is capable, and actually see your product coming to life and being delivered. But yeah, if you're interested, fill out the form and we will get the process started. Yeah. Go ahead.
One last thing. I'm gonna drop a link to our general Slack channel. So if you want to ask your questions via email, you have the email. If you want to join the Slack community and ask questions from there, or stay informed as well, that's also an option. So I will drop that in a second here. Let me just find this. And if you're already in there, then don't worry about it. If you feel like joining, then there's a link. Bueno. Okay, back to you, Jared.
Cool. Anyways, the people who have to leave, we've been on this call for over an hour and a half. If you gotta leave, it's a Saturday. You got family, you got friends to be with. Go ahead and go. But if you guys still have any outstanding questions, I'm willing to answer it. We have Ola. Ola, okay. Go ahead. Ola Khan.
Uche, I'm going to hold you responsible for murdering my name. I'm going to hold you responsible for murdering my name. This is the second time. You do it third time, I'm going to sue you, man. All right. I think it's been a very good session, really. And I know I have an outstanding question that you've not answered. Talking about
yes, it was an equity question, right?
The partnership with the founders, from NA and the founders. I really need to understand that bit. Then I think the last question I have is, have I not forgotten now? Okay, I think once I remember, I would basically just come back on. But you can answer the outstanding question. So once I get the other one out, I'll come
So back. Let me just summarize your question. It's around. Is it around what the NA team or NA gains from this sort of partnership?
Yeah. No, you know, in the course of when you were introducing the offerings and you talk about NA partnering with the founders. So I really don't understand what that is. What the partnership really is about. So, for example, if NA is partnering with, would NA be partnering with, for example, I run Color Tees. Would it be partnering with Color Tees? Or it's not clear. I don't understand I don't understand what that is really.
Yeah. So by you working with us, we automatically just put you in consider you a partner because you hire one of our engineers. You are employing one of our engineers. So what does that breakdown look like in terms of costs? Okay. Maybe that is more in line of where you're trying to go to. The equity breakdown is 5 to 10%. You get to choose, okay? But that would then inversely affect how much you would pay for our for the engineers, how much you will compensate the engineers for their work. And here's a question that I think people wrote as they were filling out the forms, and I just want to make sure that I get to answer this question because it came up 3 or 4 times, and it's just basically how does NA work? How what is our financial model? like what do we get like gain from this whole pairing thing? All right. So like a part of like negotiating of like the equity for the engineers is that we become minor equity holders in your company. That's how you pay us for this service. It's not through cash or anything. It is through that bit of equity that you have decided to forego for this service, and in that equity like percentage, we also like give that percentage to the engineers. So if you negotiate 5%, a portion of that will be going to the engineers, and a portion of that will be going to Enye as the company, not to any individuals in Enye, but Enye as an entity. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds. I mean, that sounds good. We could negotiate further.
Yeah.
But that sounds good, really.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's why in the deck I said negotiations per founder. You know, it's just like I know it's going to be unique for each person.
Yeah. Okay, I think I remember my question now. So the second question I wanted to ask is, so if I'm not ready now, at any point which I'm ready, does this whole package, does it still count anytime that I'm ready? I mean, it could be at the end of the year, it could be at the beginning of next year. I mean, based on the fact that, you know, we've established this relationship, can I still, you know, come at any time and say, okay, I think I'm ready to actually set up that engineering team?
Before I answer that, Manny, I know that you got a dip. Please go. Take care.
No, I'm gonna bounce after this one.
Okay. So like, go ahead.
Just real quick, I'm gonna take up silently, but everyone, thanks for your time. And yeah, after this is over, any questions, please get at us, LinkedIn, email, Slack, whatever you can. Go ahead, Uche.
Yeah. So Ola, the thing is, it has to coincide with one of our cohorts. We do a lot of planning in between cohorts just to we establish other partnerships to really figure out what we did right beforehand and what we need to do better the next time around. So it's not like you can just come to us and say, hey, I want to do this right now, and then we act. It has to be during a cohort. But however, we have a pool of engineers. If you wanted engineers, that's what we do. That's what we're good at. It's training the engineers and placing them. So if you wanted engineers at any time, you can ask us and say, hey, look, do you have an engineer that fits this sort of profile, and we'll do our best to find you an engineer of that caliber. If not, we'll refer you to one of our partners, Career Buddy. They are really good at placing engineers and other sorts of people as well. We're trying to find people's jobs here. So if you are looking to employ people, please let us know.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I hear you correctly, what you're saying is, whenever I'm ready, it has to also fall in line with when you are, holding another cohort, so that it can actually and I think that's fair enough. Thank you.
Fantastic. Ayo, Mr. Nigerian head of operations, you have a question?
Oh, I thought that was me.
No, Teraba. Okay, maybe the other Ayo. Go ahead.
I'm with you, Uche. Sorry, Ayo. Yeah, I'm happy to answer everyone's question and also give feedback based on what I think is applicable in Nigeria and within the region. And for people coming on board, it will actually be very amazing to work with you.
Fantastic. Okay. Ayo, number 2. Michael,
yeah.
Are you out?
All right, press wrong button. Yeah, I gotta go. I have to go I can pick up a bike. So I will see you guys later. Thank you everyone for stopping by. Uche is going to remain on for a little bit of time here, it seems like, and answer any remaining questions. Looking forward to, helping. For me, I'm excited about the business aspect. Uche is like more the software, but I really get excited about the business. So business development, like what ideas, market fits, competitive advantages do you have? Like how can we develop these ideas to ensure that the overall strategy is successful for you? That's what I really enjoy doing. So like, startup coaching. So I look forward to that opportunity. Thank you everyone and goodbye.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike. Thank you. Right, quickly my question. So for my business, Loyster, we are not early stage. So I wouldn't say we're building an MVP. But however, I mean, I like this program. I'm totally interested in it. So my question is, what would be the code base management dynamics look like? So we already have a repo, right? I mean, I get that you need to put it on your repo and then protect the developers and all of that. I'm happy to, I don't have a problem with that, but in a case where it's not an MVP, there's a product already live in the market, but additional features or additional sort of sub-products need to be developed to complement what's existing.
Okay.
How would you guys manage the repository? Is it that, okay, that feature that's been built will not be released if you don't go with the engineers, or we have to put our entire repo on yours, or how do you handle that?
You wouldn't have to put your entire repo on yours. I would say for this specific sort of edge case, because you would, if you're just building a specific feature that can just be kind of its own contained thing, I would say it would still be hosted on our end. Because again, just for like multiple reasons, we need to be able to track engineer and just progress, and we can't really like ask you to give us all these permissions into your own Git organization.
Why not?
So, yeah, so it would have to be in this way, and again, it takes literally one click of a button. I just type in your email address, and that repo just transfers to you. It's not a very difficult process. So I would still say it would still be the same way. And then for this program, I would say the right founder has a product that is like kind of self-contained, and because like the additional thing that you're also doing here is you're like gauging if these people can work with you, if you can work with these people, and you don't want to just like bring them onto like a whole like already existing code base and then have them and then have it not be a fit for some reason. You want to mitigate your risk by having it be in a very self-contained sort of way, so that if anything goes wrong, you can like pull the plug there and that like that's it. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, but I mean, in a case whereby, so I mean, imagine let's take a mobile app, for example. I mean, the entire code base is already existing, and you want to build a main feature. I mean, as far as I know, there's no way you'd be able to build upon that product without having the entire code base. So I don't know how that would be separable.
You can, absolutely. Microservices. Like you should, like what you were speaking of is a monolith where all
that
the
require. Yeah, exactly. So I'm assuming we have a monolith. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you should consider a more like modular sort of microservice like ecosystem for your technology. And there's no issue here. It's like you have this one thing. You have built APIs, ideally, if you have a platform that communicates with a front end, and they can communicate with that API. You know, there's no real issue there. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Nice. Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. Joshua, do you still have a question?
Yeah. I want to get clarification on the model.
Okay.
That's the payment model itself. So if this goes through, you talked about 80K to 160K, and then the 5 to 10% equity. Like I want to understand the breakdown on that. If we go through the first phase, like we get an engineer after the whole conversation, we get an engineer to work on our product.
Yeah.
Are we going to pay them along with the equity? Or the equity covers all of that, or like how does
No.
it?
Yeah, the equity is what is bringing down their costs.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, these are not entry-level engineers. These engineers have years of experience. They're going through our program to basically get better skills. And now we're gonna place people who already have work experience, who could be getting 200 to like 250, maybe even 300 if they're a little bit upper.
I agree.
Like they could be getting that monthly. Now we've come up with a model to be able to say, look, take a bit less pay, but you're gonna be getting a lot more equity and ownership in the company to kind of like make you feel better about not earning as much.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So is that going to be determined like from the onset? Because if an engineer comes on board on the very first week or the very first month, you really can't determine how much value the person is going to bring in, or who you are going to pick on the onset. To not determine how much equity you are giving the person to bring down the cost.
No. So you will only decide on that, dependent on this. You agree with the MVP. We have you're like, yes, this is my MVP. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And if you want to move forward, that's when that negotiation will happen. It's not on the onset. I'm just telling you what the equity breakdown will be, just so that when that conversation starts happening, for the MVP, it is, you don't have to worry about any of that. All we're doing is just, hey, let's build this for you. Let's yeah. It's not doing the MVP. The MVP is zero cost to any founder. It is
perfectly now.
Okay, fantastic.
So when you get to the point of moving on, that's when this whole conversation comes up.
Exactly. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right, guys. Kunle, did you have a question? I still can't hear you, Kunle. Maybe type it out. Your mic is broken or something, or I don't know. Audio is not working. All right, guys. So that is it. If there's no more questions, thank you all for taking the time, almost 2 hours to just hear us speak and answer most of your questions. Again, you will receive an email tomorrow just asking you if you're interested to sign up. And then we will choose founders. We'll interview you guys just to make sure there is a fit on both sides. Cool. Take care, and until next time. Bye, guys. Hey, Ifedi, are you there? Oh, no?
Hi, Uche. Yeah.
How
nice one.
Nice
good,
one,
good.
indeed.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get on a call, ASAP.
Yeah, we can actually get on a call right after this if you are available.
Yeah, I'm not sure now will work. I'll check with the other guys and then circle back. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ifedi, how are you now? Good evening, nobody.
Hey, Baba, I'm good. What's up? How you doing?
Yeah, good. Good to hear your voice, bro.
Yeah,
man, fantastic, guys. Okay, take care. I'm gonna end the call, but I'm just gonna leave, and then if you guys want to just stay on and keep talking, I go ahead and do that. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, bye. Bye, Uche.
Yes. Bye. Thank you.